Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Sentinel League 3.18. In this episode, I'm going to be showcasing my budget build, and, well, as for the showcase, absolutely no abilities in this build. The phase run will just be for moving around after, and the Flasks, I am not touching them. They are automated, used when charges reach full. And the build is under 40x. This is tier 16. We do magic, 64 quant. You have to run epidemiology for the increased effect on the blight. And I'm running triple crimson, and I get 37 lucky chests. This build is Charon Golem zombies. The defenses. This is what we're looking at. So 778 regen, 75 across the board here. We have all the LE flasks. Shock, and these weird mods come from a Cinder Swallow, and let's go through the build. Let's enjoy it while we AFK. So it's viable for T16 AFK Blight with 2 meteor towers. We'll build the other one on the other side, and we'll just build it here. And then it was actually already viable for the T16 AFK Blight at 37x, and what jumped the price up so much was adding spell suppression. We found there was this thing, crystal skin. Technically I default attacked the middle just to target my minions here, and then there's a big circle. If I targeted here, then there'd be a circle over here. That's the example real quick. But basically this build was supposed to be cheaper, and then I was doing a T16 and some weird purple thing killed me. It was like a crystal appearing underneath me, and it happened twice, and I was like, that's my only death. So we figured out that it's Crystal Skin, the new Arch Nemesis mod, and it is pretty scary, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So when you hit it, and then when you kill it, crystals appear for the number of hits it took, and they do a lot of damage. And I believe it's either physical or elemental. And it would be all the elements, so I added all the elemental flasks. That helped. Instead of just Ruby, I was using just Ruby before this version. I'll have all the budget versions in this video, so if you want to, you can stay tuned for... I'm going to go into detail every single budget version from 1x all the way up to 40x that I made. I have all the POBs, I have all the stuff. I want to go through it. I want to go through the decision making I had and the changes throughout, but I wanted to start it off with the peak of the build of the under 40x doing AFK tier 16 Blight in 3.18. It's really cool, and explain some of the stuff near the end of like the min-maxing. So we had to get spell suppression. I'll show you the AMI. The AMI is literally just life, dex, mana, cold res, and an open suffix. And then we anointed champion of the cause because our tree has literally every aura thing except for the CI. So we get like charisma, we get the area, we get this, we got a ton of aura effect. We have the minion stuff, we have all the minion stuff, as much minion damage on the tree as possible while still being efficient. We have as much life as possible while still being efficient, except for this. I'm missing 6 life points. That, you know, if we could take out some of this inefficient minion damage, but we need that extra damage. And then we have this really bad cluster. You don't even take the primordial bond, but it's a 5.2 jewel socket, 2 notable. It's really good, but honestly I could get a renewal, vicious spite, rotting claws, and that would be cool. And oh, we'll build one more tower. That's the thing. I built one over here, and I like to build one on the opposite side so we cover both sides. It just makes more sense than building them both on one side and then this side has no towers. This is actually 2 towers, so sometimes you get lucky where it places them nice, but it's really chill. It's like balloons, man. And the helmet was really cheap. I actually enchanted this myself, and the enchant's not that great, but it's still better than nothing. A reservation on literally any aura in the build would have worked. But yeah, it was really expensive to fit the spell suppression because I had to get it on the glove, recraft the body armor, get a new boot with spell suppression, still get enough dex, enough strength in the build. And then, so I had upgraded the belt to an elder belt to get more life there. I had hit some really cool mods. I slammed this with a Leo slam and hit the flash charges gained, which helps our flash sustain for automating the flash while we're AFK. And I found that the skill tree thing that I do down here, where we go 3, 10, 16% plus this dex converted into spell suppression, we're getting like 20, 30 spell suppression on the tree. It's really good, and it really helps for capping. And so we got the spell suppression cap, and the reason why I cap the spell suppression is the difference of consistency. So if you didn't have 100%, sometimes you could get unlucky because there's no entropy built in, and you see that damage, it's perfect. It's actually perfect. That's with it leaping in. Oh, something else we did that was a huge improvement near the end. So it was the spell suppression cap on the gear, running armor, evasion, or evasion bases, and then we actually switched a +2 wand for a +1 minions are aggressive with an open mod. So either an open prefix or an open suffix for minion damage or the minion attack speed craft. And it also happened to be a hybrid mana minion damage craft, because I did 5 of these just for fun, and this one was pretty cool. And so, yeah, I annulled them to get an open mod, and every single one of the annulls I hit, but technically you'd add like twice the price just for the annul, because there's 2 good mods and there was 4 bad mods, so it's pretty likely you'll hit a bad mod, but sometimes you will hit your good mods and delete your wand. How we did this is I recombinated minions are aggressive with +1 spell skill gem wands that were cheap. And so what I did was I looked for, I have clips of it on the stream, but I did the minions are aggressive wand first, and then it would have other mods like, let's say, mana or intelligence or reduced attributes, and then I would look for a spell skill gems wand and do a count search of these other mods and search for 1 or 2 of them, and I would know that the wand I'm buying already has some similar mods, and if it's not corrupted, I could craft on it one of the other mods maybe. So a lot of the wands on trade were 6 mods, and in total for the Recombinator you want 10 total mods. That's it. You don't want less than 10, you don't want more than 10. 10 mods is the goal in Recombinators, so it's either 4, 6, 5, 5. That's the only options, really. It's pretty simple. Let's enjoy looting this Blight map together, and as you can tell, it's really simple. We tested so many of these, and I could continue to run this of doing, and then I've also ran mapping with the character, and just having the spell suppression, and I did the extra mana reservation to fit Grace in the build. I got an Enlightened 3 that was only 1.2x instead of spending 14x for an Enlightened 4. And I was able to fit Grace while still having enough mana for a caster damage taken Immortal Call. We don't have the automated trigger Flesh Offering, but for Blight it doesn't even matter. I don't even have Desecrate in the build. So then we can go through this. Black Oil. It's a really sick build though. I'm really happy with it, and I'd love to, I can't wait to go through all of the budget versions of the build and talk through the decision making with you guys in this video, and I hope you look forward to it. It's really cool. It was a lot of fun. Spent like 3 days, 4 days on this. Gilded Sulfite, Gilded Shaper. Yo, oh yeah, I shouldn't loot. I should just show the loot. Also, do you guys know why my game has like these flare ups? Some things don't, like the colors don't show correctly. Why are they like orangey on fire? That's my textures. It's like broken. It doesn't work right. Does anyone know? Hey, a Skelly damage enchant helmet. What the hell? Lightning strike. Are those good? Those might be decent. Like, that's not bad. What the heck? Ooh, infused channeling support. Nice. Second part of the video, another Blight map, and the reason for this is because I realize you need to know all the stuff I did to beat this. So specifically, you need the Meteor Anoint, Meteor Towers. Well, you obviously need this whole setup, and the only thing you could really cut is maybe the Grace, because it was the last thing I added, and that was for mapping, and it feels amazing. But basically, the Tower Anoints, you want the Burning Ground for 3 seconds on hit. This is a Violet Indigo Anoint. Then we have the Meteor drops, an additional Meteor. This is like making your Meteor Towers 2 Meteor Towers. You know, when I build 2 in the beginning, it's like I have 4 if both Meteors hit. So then this is Opalescent Verdant Oil for the Anoint. And I find those really important. And you got to make sure you have the Anomalous Mim for the extra slow. The slow helps your the meteors hit the bosses and shit. It slows them down. And then I'm gonna build another tower Fuck, man. This placement's so weird. I'm just gonna build it right here. It is really weird, though. I just want to chill for the video now. Okay, and then, like I said before, you use a default attack or any skill like a Desecrate or whatever on the pump to target your minions there, and that's pretty important. And then if you're using a melee weapon, it'll actually make you walk up to the spot you click and attack. That's what it's doing. So, and then that commands your minions. So the anomalous maim is really important. And the Animate Guardian right now, this is important because there's no specific video. I'm not using the Explode. I don't have Gravebind. The Animate Guardian, you can see he has a Kingmaker. Pretty simple. He has a 10C glove with vulnerability curse on hit. He has a boot that I bought. It was a Sork boot. I didn't buy it because it was a Sork boot, but I bought it because it had Brittle Ground for 4 seconds and all the elemental res he needed and move speed. It was really good. So I put that on him, and now he has Brittle Ground. You can see he's leaving a trail all around, and then bosses walk onto the trail and you get double damage. It's sick. It works, trust me. Highly recommend it over the double curse for Blight because you're not cursing unless you use a profane proxy to automate it or something. Or there's maybe some other ways, but yeah, I'm not doing that. And then the last thing is he has the Elder Helm. Nearby enemies take 9% increased physical damage, and then he has a Redeemer's Chestplate for nearby enemies are blinded. That one's not necessary. Technically, I could have gone for a few different options, but the nearby enemies that are blinded is really nice with the Grace. For just in general survivability, blind with evasion is good, and blind also lowers the enemy's evasion. Actually, blind is an offensive debuff, so having the blind on the AG this whole time has technically helped the minion accuracy. It's instant blind. It's like a Flesh and Stone sand stance on the AG's chest plate, and I didn't have to pay for it. And then I also, well, he doesn't take the less damage like from the monsters outside the range like the sand stance, but he didn't have to reserve the extra mana, and it's around the AG instead of around me, so it's actually, the blind is moving. The blind is moving to the enemies. It's like a skitterbot, so it's sick. So that's my Animate Guardian. It's a pretty cheap setup, very budget, because just getting the Redeemer nearby enemies or blinded mod is super cheap. And then, like I said, the Elemental Res was the boot, and the Brittle was the boot, and the move speed boot, and then the glove was just the curse, 10C, and Kingmaker was like 47C. I made it myself. I used a Soul Taker, a Fusing Orb, and a Heartbreaker, and the Vendor Recipe. And then, yeah, like I said before, the minions are aggressive was better than a +2. So +1 plus minions are aggressive is better than a +2, and I did it with the Recombinator. And then I annulled for an open mod, and my other option was minion attack speed if I get a suffix. And then obviously for mapping, I would love to have Trigger with my offering, because casting anything breaks the phase run. My phase run's basically perma, which is really cool. I did a anomalous phase run with the 20/20 increased duration with the 20 efficacy support, and I think there's a alt quality efficacy support that can actually get me extra duration, which would take this to permanent for sure. The only problem is when you hit map mods when you're mapping that reduce your cooldown recovery rate or reduce the buff duration, because it counts as a buff and then it disappears fast, like it's gone immediately. It's kind of sucks. Where when you combo with this dash, with the alt quality dash, where this dash is just a 2-second phasing and it's not a buff, it can't be reduced by that buff thing, and it actually it's more consistent. I love dash. Dash is so good. But yeah, we'll loot this together, and I went for damage Ghastly Jewel instead of the Taunt Blind, because the Taunt doesn't work on Blight, and I already have the Blind because of the AG, and I told you I think the AG chestplate is more consistent than the Blind Jewel. The Blind Jewel is maximum 6%, which would be like 15 or more hits, 16, 17 hits. It's really insane on average, where the AG chest, he just walks in range and they're blind. Pretty good. Pretty good. I liked it for a while. I don't think I've had accuracy issues, but technically it's something you could think about if you wanted to. It is a bonus. It's not as, like, blind is actually a lot better than people think, as usual. So let's open all these chests and see if we've got any profit from this Blight map, because, you know, we gotta know, is Blight worth it? You know, you have this build, you're playing Blight, what is it actually worth doing with this strategy? Let's find out, dude. I love auto flask, man. When did, holy shit, Purity of Lightning 123. You got that big AoE. No oils. It's pretty bad for now. Where's the stacked decks? 4? We gotta open those. Regret for my map. Yo, we got more stacked decks coming. This could be good. Strand. I have like 40 of these. I don't know how. I bought maps and this one guy actually had like 40 strands. One map. I think he singular focused Strand. And now he's got too many Strand Blights. Oh my god, and nothing else. It's actually insane. What the heck, dude? 7 Segdicks? Nothing. But we probably broke even on the map. Now I wanted to do a quick breakdown of the gear. So this I had bought for 2.5x with the open prefix, and these 2 suffixes I couldn't believe it. I multied, so 4.5x, boom. I bought the helmet for 20C crafted already. I added the implicits just using the grand eldritch currency. You can see the eater is the fizz, and I didn't go for these ones. The searing, you can have minion life or minion move speed. Eater, you can have this fizz taken as different things, and also you can have the mana reservation. That's what I actually wanted, but I got this. It was cheaper to not roll for a specific one that's more rare. Also, the enchant, I actually ran lab because I had to do my uber lab for the character, just to get my lab in general for bone barrier. I did it like 72 or something, and I had hit vitality, but I honestly would have taken any reservation, determination, vitality, maybe pride, maybe like whatever I could get, I would have done potentially. Yep. Obviously anything else useful for the build could also work. Flesh offering doesn't work for the AFK Blight. You could get like carry on golem damage, zombie damage, stuff like that could also work. You could get dread banner, aura effect. There's a few options. And then yeah, I crafted the main thing was you gotta get the +2 in the, you know, your stats. That was the hump. Then the Ami was so shit, and it was just for the dex, and the mana was kind of cool in the res. And then how it's like a strength and dex base. Yeah. Like I said, the wand, I actually recombed myself, so I have a few examples of these wherever I put them. Yeah, we have the +1 with minion move speed and aggressive. We got the hybrid mana damage aggressive +1 and minion attack speed aggressive, minion LE res spell skills, minion damage aggressive. And then it's really cool. Like I said, I preferred the +1 aggressive over just a +2, and I found the aggressive zombies more useful in the Blight because they actually move around. If you didn't know, aggressive is raising the minion targeting to a minimum level, minimum value, so easy clap. They reach farther. They, instead of being useless around you, they go to the edge of the screen, and it's awesome. And they're more aggressive, and they do more damage and have higher uptime on their damage. Rings are just simple. Attribute, life, res, mana. Open suffix, same thing. You can change the res using the harvest, fire to something, or even cold to lightning, or cold to fire, or fire to lightning. Yep, I do that all the time. And then for getting the spell suppression after, it's really hard. And I want you to know, to be aware that you could get 34 in the chestplate. The 22 max in the glove is hard to get. Then the 9 in the implicit, you could get 12 if you rolled this to perfect using the these orbs of conflict, but that's so expensive, and it's only 3%. It's not really worth it. Just keep the grand for the 9%. Yep. And then you could also get, yeah, spell suppression 22 in the boot. So I didn't have any in the helmet. This is my point. You could technically spread it out to get it, and then you have to remember you're getting like 20, 30 in the tree, so it makes it a little bit easier. And technically, if you also got Grace, you could run a Watcher's Eye where you get spell suppression for running Grace. But then you'd have to take out a Jewel, and that's a whole thing, or you'd have to get a whole extra Jewel socket, which there is one for 3 points, but we're 95, and you already have points where you could put life in, and you could this is where you would just be farming up big stuff and probably be trying to go Mage Blood, or maybe even swap over to the CI version, farm up those big items. You can tell how this works, or even get more efficient spell suppression, so you save these points on the tree. You get more efficient reservation, so you don't need all this weird reservation. Yep, there's so many options. So then back to, I had done the 31, the 18, the 9, and the 22, and then the shit on the tree. I could have had some in the helmet to make this easier, but then what about the fire or the chaos or the craft? Yep. And I still have to get the +2 in the minion life. It's pretty hard. So I kept that. Helmet was pretty important in our build. And then the belt, I had done pristine fossils, and I hit life recovery rate, and then Flask life recovery rate, and I was like, okay, open suffix, so I used Leo Slam, and boom. And it's not that unlikely to hit this using pristines. It's pretty easy. The base was kind of expensive. That was it was like 1.3x or something initially. And then I did the attack speed jewel, like I said, instead of the taunt blind. And I didn't do the minion damage when you've used a skill recently, because we're AFK, not using a minion skill recently, so this actually works. And then technically you didn't need the phase run for the AFK Blight, or the flesh offering, or the dash. But it's nice to have it still in, so then you can use the phase run for the looting after, and you don't really want to change it. And the quartz flesh, the quicksilver doesn't matter, because you don't actually get any charges after when the map's done, so you don't actually have a quicksilver. It doesn't matter. And then on the glove, I had went spell suppression, chaos res, cold res, life, and then we went to trying to get minion damage on the craft, because then you could get 42 minion damage out of the glove, which was like quite a bit of damage. It's actually sick, and it's consistent. Searing Exarch was the minion damage, and Eater of Worlds was the spell suppression. And I think it's time to go through the Flasks, and then the tree, and then we're on to the budget builds. So I did a Taste of Fate, and they're cheap to get it perfectly rolled. Instead of using Divine 6 times on this, that was my recommendation. And then qualityed it up and use charges when the charges reach full is in the crafting bench. You get this when you reach maps. You grab it at the shore or something, and then you would use this one. And we did this. So something I do is I like to put the immunities on the elemental flask, because the elemental flasks have a consume 20 of 50, so they get 2.5 clicks before they're full, where the 30 of 60 is only 2 clicks. It's slightly less charges, and then also they last longer, so when you make them last less, then they last still a good amount. So you can see 6.8, and then this one's 10.9 with my armor, and we have regen for 8 seconds, and we have percent of damage taken from hits is leached as life. So then leech is really interesting, because that can go up to 20% regen basically, but if you reach full, your leech is gone. So it's really cool, though. It's really cool. It helps you. It's extra recovery. It's not bad. We could also do increased evasion, since you have so much evasion, and then you could just have extra evasion since we have the Jade Flask, we have the Grace. I feel like you already have so much evasion, and we didn't even have the evasion, the extra Grace when I was testing the T16 Blights. The spell suppression was enough. I did the extra Grace for mapping, which feels amazing. And then for mapping after, I was doing this swap. So you take out the Jade, you still have 15,000. You don't have the leech, and you don't have the fizz damage taken as cold or the less cold, but you could swap in this if you didn't want the instant life. The main reason for the instant life was a less recovery map. You have like no recovery, no regen, so you have to just start tapping your life flask to heal. But otherwise, yeah, this is really tanky. You have all the LD flask, granite, you're thick. Let's show, yeah. And you have the increased armor, so you'd have pretty good across the board. And you have the LE flies up all the time if you're killing, and we have 10-12 million damage, so it's pretty cool. Now I want to go into the other build, though. Let's go into the, oh yeah, and the speed. Oh, this was the speed with the Quicksilver. It's not that bad, and then you could get the shrines, and it's pretty good. Yeah. The mapping was pretty good. I should probably show the mapping, even though this was for T16 AFK Blight. Okay, so I decided that to show the build, I would take my god tree, you know, the one we made all the money on. This endgame tree. By the way, I found out that that tree gets like 1/3 of the XP per hour of the 5 ways, and that's with this build. So if you had my god build where we're clearing really fast, the XP per hour would go up as you clear faster, right? So this map was minus max res, vulnerability, reflect. The reason I can run the reflect is we took a sextant. Players and their minions cannot take reflected damage. That's sick. Then it's just random pack size and, well, quality. We got a quality sextant. I just kept it. This is less armor, LE ailments on hit, mim, cannot be modified, cannot be tons of shit, right? This is going to be disgusting. I take domination. That's it. These don't get used because we're stream of consciousness. I just keep them in there for blight because when I take off stream of consciousness and then the blight gets 20% quality from the fragments. Okay, so you think, man, this is so insane. What are you doing? Let me get some stuff ready because I wanna play, you know. We want to do that. We want to do that. We want to do. I don't have the extra curse. We don't have the assassin's mark. This is the minus max reses. It looks pretty fucked. Let's get my minions in there. Let's start zooming. We already got a map. Let's grab that shit. We got the influence. We got map boss. We don't click player on this one, I'll be honest. We don't read it. We just save the time. Don't even look. And just do map boss. And map boss still prints. It's not bad. And we don't have to worry about the player mods and dying. And then the XP is actually pretty decent, like I said. You can watch it, and it's pretty cool. And so I tested 5-way. I'm getting like, oh, now we're tanky. This is the shrine strat, dude. I was getting 800 million per hour with the 5-way at my level, and then my strat was doing 200, 280. I did delve. I was getting like 110, 120. So this map is more XP with the influence and all that than, and the rogue exiles and the tormented. It's more XP than delving, and it's like 1/3 of the XP if you're clearing decently fast. Like this build, if you had this build, you'd be getting like 200, 280, which is actually pretty good. And well, the only difference obviously between this and a 5-way is you probably shouldn't die in a 5-way, but you could die in this map because it's actually really rippy, unless you get the divine shrine and you're completely immune. But you can see the clear is not bad. There's no explode AG. This is just the carry-ons on the zombies going off and attacking everything and killing, and we could try to run it like full speed and everything dies, and that's pretty cool. It's because we can't really run that fast yet. If you get the shrine though, where you run fast, you definitely don't clear fast enough, and you kind of have to like run back and forth, and that you'd obviously want more clear. You want the explode AG, which is Gravebind, explode, sorry, the Gravebind with the vulnerability curse on hit, and you would want the explode chestplate, Crusader. You could do a double mod with the nearby enemies if you wanted, blinded, or you could do the extra curse with the hunter mod, like I said, or you could do a low tier explode for cheap, or you could do the 29%, 30%, or you could elevate it. And then there's also just getting more damage in general, like getting better wands, getting the better cluster, getting there's the better helmet, there's a better enchant, there's more levels, there's going to CI, going global defenses, better mods, you know. Still capping spell suppress. It's so insane. Using a melding, getting a mage blood, ashes of the stars with the alt qualities, having an anomalous AG with the explode AG, disgusting. But dude, it's already pretty good for what we have here, honestly. The fact that I could do the AFK T16 Blight and then I could also just swap a couple things and run it into maps is really insane to me. I like this a lot. I hope you guys do too. And now let's get into those budget builds I've made. So many tiers of budget builds and so many upgrades I've made. This is going to be an insane video. Welcome to the start of the build. So this was the 1X budget build. This is when I swapped, and I'd like to have a public service announcement. This is a 70 tree because I was missing 2 points in game. So I was actually 72 with only 70 points. So when you complete the campaign, remember to check your /passives and make sure you have 24 if you did the bandits. Anyways, so this was the tree I planned. It was the jewel sockets to fit in the golem, so you do the 2 harmonies, the anima stone, and the primordial might. And I did this because I wanted the minion stuff. I took the extra 8% fizz damage reduction over before because we found that minions were dying to like the new corrupted blood and the fizz damage, and until you have dread marches, your minions only have 15% fizz damage reduction, which having an extra 8% is an absolute insane amount. And then it makes the armor more efficient for your determination, and then so having quality on your determination for the aura area of effect also helps. And if you could technically have enough mana where you don't need this reservation on the first part, and you could do the increased area for your auras for your determination, it does help your minion survivability. That's what we learned. So then I do that, but it's like confirming more. Then another thing, you gotta get that leech for sure, because the leech is huge. They can leech up to 20% of their life. So like per second, they have to hit a lot and get a lot of sources of leech, and it's really hard for them to hit that fast for zombies, but carry-on golems can do it, and it's really good. And it does give extra survivability. And then this was the tree, and so no clusters, nothing. It was just 2 cold iron points. This is the original swap. And then I got the +2 helmet for 20C, and you see it actually started with LE hit damage, and I had enchanted it in the lab with I got vitality, which was hilarious. I had crafted this 6-link. I bought the 6-link for like 20C for a glorious plate, and and it was kind of a mistake because 191 strength is a lot, and I didn't want to have this much in the build, so it was really annoying to have more strength. But at least it actually works, as I don't have a brass dome that deletes the strength. So then I crafted this with essence of envy for the chaos res, and I hit life, and I was like, all right, open suffix, we're good, let's go. Crafted res, done. And this one I had bought it for those res, fire, chaos, and the attribute, and then I got the extra increased armor, and it had open prefix. I could craft life. I wasn't worried about the minion damage yet. It was early. It was just to cap my reses and get my attributes to use the build with my big damage from the cold iron points, and the minions should survive with the +2. And then we had the boot with, like I said, just generic stuff you need: move, speed, res, attributes, and then life. And Ami was same thing, just trying to make everything work with an open suffix to get the extra endurance charge. You get the endurance charge from June Unveils. And I actually did a lapis amulet, so it was cheaper. You obviously would rather a citron or a jade or a amber to get the strength or the dex that you needed, but now I have extra int. Sure, dude. Yep. And then unset rings with life, res, attributes, open suffix for the endurance charge. You get it from June Unveils on jewelry, rings, and amulets. And then I did a Stygian Vice. I bought a Stygian Vice base for cheap and did the Essence of Envy on it. And I just took any roll and I took random lightning and crafted on it. It was so bad. It was like 2 essences, and that's pretty normal. And then we got a life taunt blend. I put this in originally, and it's useful. It's not great because it's not like the things can just mess you up before they're even blinded or taunted, but against something tankier it does help. Like when you taunt up a boss and then it doesn't attack back. But for AFK Blight, like we weren't blighting on this yet. Blight was failing on this setup, so this was for mapping, and so the taunt blind does work, and it's for map bosses and stuff like that, and it's actually decent. But for Blight, the taunt doesn't really help, and the blind can technically help for accuracy because in the beginning, well, we had the Grave Pact in the high level, but just in general for when you use zombies, you gotta help them get some extra accuracy. I'll actually show you potentially. Let's see here. Like their slam can't miss, but their attack might be able to. So only 4,000. We want over 5,000 accuracy on them. And you can see their default slam accuracy 100%. But even against, look at this, you can put a level 100 enemy, and it's still accurate. But if you did their default attack, 96%. Oh shit. So that's the budget. That's the 1x start. It's pretty simple, pretty standard, pretty normal. And the start I did was instant bleed. I did a quartz with freeze and increased duration. I did a jade with shock and charge recovery. I would have preferred duration or gain charges when you're hit, but I got charge recovery and had to keep it. We had max charges with increased armor. Max charges is absolutely terrible. I don't recommend it. Please do increased duration or gain charges when you've been hit, like gain charges when you're hit. The max charges was so bad, and then increased charge recovery. It's okay, but like I said, I'd rather increase duration or the gain charges when you're hit. Way better, way better. But I wanted the suffix mods, increased armor, move speed, shock, freeze as my priorities. I got the bleed in the instant. That was sick. And I think I did the bleed by using Einhar, putting a bleed craft onto instant life. Yeah. And then this build against 85 enemy, because the carry-on golems are accurate, and this is just counting the carry-on golems. If we show them over here, they were 100% accurate, 5249 like I want, over 5k, and so they could even do a level 100 enemy, but the difference is you wouldn't be able to do a level 100 enemy with the rare mod hasted, because it increases their evasion by 100%, but we can do an 385 with 100% increased evasion, and then we have 1.358 million on the swap, which is just basically the cold iron points, and the golem jewels, which is pretty good, honestly. Pretty good start. This is gameplay of the 1x budget build. Expected with this kind of setup. 72. And if you were trying to push red maps. Look at that damage. Oh god. Oh god. Help! It's on my new video, yeah. From yesterday. Daily POBs on every video. I need to do a public service announcement. This first build, that 72, had the AG in it with the 21, but I didn't actually put the AG in yet. Especially this build didn't even have the ascendancy because I was 72. I just swapped. This was the original swap. This is what I did. And I did the lab after this. It was really easy at 72 with the missing 2 points, and it was fine. And this would be, I want this before I do the AG, because the minion survivability, yeah, they gain 20% more life. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So then I lead into this second one. So then I show at the same budget, I just fit in extra stuff that I was supposed to be able to fit in, and they're not even fully leveled up. It's like just I just swapping over. So still 1x budget version, just fitting in all the stuff I'm supposed to have, the auras I'm supposed to have, because the other one was missing the dread banner and the precision, and then linking it with the generosity, having all these things and putting them in the correct way. We still don't have the animate guardian. You can tell because we still have the vulnerability, so I'm manually casting this, and the AG is useless still. But technically, we're getting closer. We have the dread banner, this stuff linked, and it got 1.658 million for 1x budget, and we didn't change anything else really. We did hit the vitality reservation. This was doing the lab. I hit the vitality reservation, and I think I got the extra skill points, and I got 1 extra skill point, and I leveled up, so I got 2 extra skill points, and yeah, this was the tree. It's really cool, really cool. And then linking it together, and we have the vitality, and we're leveling all these things up, and I had my cast on death portal, but yeah, no AG yet, and the items are basically the same. Absolutely, except for the enchant on the helm. I was just scaling the build. Gameplay of adding the AG. ZHP, but look at my XP bar. Yo, the boss damage. This is the reality. Watch this. Next is brittle. That's a low-level assassin's mark, and it already double curse makes a huge diff. Look at that. That's less effective curse. Fuck! And endurance charge 45%. And more life. I did pick the tanky one, but it was the point. Oh, baby. This POB, I'm 76. Still only 75 points. I'm still missing the extra point. Pretty funny, actually. And, we are 2.8x in. What happened in this POB to go from 1x to 2.8? What did we add? The budget AG. So we put a glove on him. It was a curse. Vulnerability curse on hit glove for 5C. We put a boot on him. The windscream boot. I'll show you that one. I took it off after, but originally I started with a windscreen boot so we could double curse. He applies an additional curse on an enemy, so then he does the vulnerability curse, and then also applies an additional curse so we can do Assassin's Mark after. Put an AEG helmet with nearby enemies take 9% increased physical damage for the Elder Helm, and then we did Kingmaker, 35C. It was the Soul Taker and Heartbreaker plus a Fusing Orb. And then I got a 15C body armor. Nearby enemies are blinded. Redeemer body armor. So this isn't elevated. I need to just typo that. Fix that. I always have that written for the other one. And it was the Kingmaker. My Brittle from my boot. I'll talk about that after. And then the Elder Helmet. Yeah. And then I did on the boot. Where is it? The Searing Exarch implicit. So it's the Searing Exarch Grand Eldritch Ember. And I rolled Brittle Ground. It's like 50 tries, which is like 1x, 100C. And then I got Avoid Bleed as the Eater of Worlds. I wasn't trying for it. There's like 3 mods you could take. Avoid Bleed, Life Regeneration Rate, and Avoid Poison. I got Avoid Bleed and said, I guess that's fine. And then I did the same thing to my other ones. I just used the influence and went for a mod that can work. So I did increased effective mark, minion damage, spell block, and increased effective offering. The fizz damage taken as fire and minion move speed. There's a bunch of different mods you can go for. These are just the first ones I hit, and I wasn't specifically going for these. These are not the best. Like spell block, I end up rolling later. We changed these to aura effect and pride aura effect. We want mana reservation and minion life or minion move speed. We want minion damage and mana reservation. And spell suppression. And we want life regeneration rate and brittle ground. But we don't get always what we want, and we want to keep it cheaper. So then with all those upgrades, the AG and the brittle, the damage went from 1.6 to 3.2. So this was just getting the Kingmaker, the nearby enemies, Elder Helm, and when you brittle the enemy, which is running on top of the enemy. And then there's also double curse. And then the curse isn't all leveled up. Like, I was doing this fresh, like a normal build, other than the 21 of the minions in the beginning. I forgot to mention that. That was one of the first things I did after the golem. With the golem jewels and the cooldown points, I got 21 of the Spectre zombie and the Charon golem, because levels on the jewels is sick. And part of this was 15C for the 21 animate guardian. I technically bought this in the beginning and counted it as part of the 1x, but I never even used it until now, which costs like 100C for the AG total or something. And then later I switch out the boot on the Animate Guardian for a Brittle boot too, because I want to AFK Brittle, and have him leave the Brittle ground, and I'm not double cursing when I'm AFK anyways, so that's a thing to think about when you're making him right now. You could already go for Brittle boot instead of the double curse, and you don't have to run Assassin's Mark, and you don't have to curse, and he's just doing extra Brittle ground. You could do it for the AFK Blight. But yeah, pretty awesome upgrade here, and we got more to go. Fine, but then the curse, like, vulnerability is expensive. Let's test the boss. This is the Rogue Exile strat, by the way. This is the crazy one that I was doing on stream printing. So I haven't sentineled. The boss is juiced. Let's brittle. Obviously no 70 million, fucking 80 million single target, but Elder map, nice. Map sustaining. Right after that POB, I made this one. It was pretty quick. 3x instead of 2.8. So I had upgraded the Flasks. Divine instead. Still instant, still bleed. Oh, this is the one I did with the beast. But either way, knowing about the beast adding the immune to bleed is really nice. And then we have the ruby flask with shock and less duration. I did a ruby because I think that fire is the scariest one when I'm doing searing exarch altars. Then I have the gain charges with increased armor. See how I prefer the gain charges when you're hit by an enemy? So I fixed the flask as soon as possible also. I had priority on AG, I had priority on minion survival, and I had priority on Flasks. Increased duration with reduced effective curse. I didn't go for the reduced effective curse, I just wanted duration. The reduced effective curse wasn't bad though. And then we have immune to freeze. So the main ones were immune to freeze, immune to shock, armor, and then the instant bleed. And this was just a bonus mod. And then increased duration or gain charges when you're hit is what I prefer. Like I show, gain charge when you're hit by an enemy, increased duration, increased duration, increased duration. Real. That was all this POB, was just upgrading the flasks. This is a very, very cool upgrade to the tree and build. So I wanted to do 2 Dreadmarch renewals. And to do that, you have to get the large cluster. So I got this 40C large cluster with Feasting Fiends renewal. The third mod can either be Primordial Bond or Call to Slaughter. They both go on this outer spot. You just don't take it. You save 2 points, and then you see it's a 5-point, 2 jewel socket, 2 notable, and 10 minion damage. So what's really cool about this is, in total, think about this. It's 8 points for 2 jewel sockets, so basically like 4 points per, which is normal. You're gonna spend, if you're gonna try to go to a new jewel socket, it's gonna be minimum 3, and it can maybe go to, or maybe 2 at the lowest, and then it's gonna usually then be like, you should already have those by then. The 4s and the 5s are the ones you have to reach for. Like if we're trying to go to the next one, 5 over here. If we're trying to go to the next one, it's far as hell. There's this one, then the next one would be far as hell. Next one, far as hell, far as hell. Like it's. Jewel sockets are pretty spaced out, so when you can do this, it's so efficient for the jewel sockets, and it was only 40C. These 2 mediums were 30C total, so I got a Dreadmarch renewal. I got extra fire res, extra LE res. I didn't really try for that, but that's what I got. And you just take the Dreadmarch renewal, and you only need 2 Dreadmarches in my opinion. And if you do more mediums, you could do renewal Feasting Fiends instead. So then Feasting Fiends is pretty good. I still keep the leech on the tree. Found it really nice for the survivability. And then I also got a Fortress Covenant that, where did I put it? Yeah, Fortress Covenant for 20C. This was really good because for a jewel socket, it's like getting 3 of these, 45 minion damage in a jewel and the block. So it's pretty cool. I like it. Minion survivability extra, and that was take me to 3.8x just for adding the clusters, but it's so better, more efficient. I get the 3 renewals, which is 3% regen, so I don't need to take this anymore. I save all these points and I repath the tree, and I gained damage. We went to 3.9 million now. We gained the minion survivability. That's one of the biggest things. If we don't have that, we only have the 23% physical damage reduction from the tree. With this, we gain an extra 20% and the 20 minion move speed and the 20 chaos. We cap the chaos res with one of these. The phys damage reduction almost doubles their physical damage reduction, not counting the armor, which makes the armor more efficient. And then renewals, 3 of them, to have the regen to replace the regen from the tree. It's not exact, but it's what you could do through clusters. And we get a little bit more leech too, and we get some different minion life. I like the phys damage reduction the most. I find that the most valuable, and you kind of need a large cluster to enable 2 instead of coming to this and only getting 1 medium. You need a large to open up the double cluster for really efficient. Yep. This was a pretty big upgrade here, and I didn't save the POB apparently, but I will save it now. So I have the code, but we got the extra skill point finally, so it actually matches. Finally, at level 80, I got my extra skill point. We did an anoint, so you can see it already. I anointed Golem Commander, which saved that big path thing. Massive. 90C anoint for the golden oil, the silver, and the azure. I did a 3C new abyss jewel, so instead of that taunt blind life, I did taunt armor, mana, dex. The reason I did this is I just needed a tiny bit of dex because I made my build annoying, and this jewel fixed it, and it was only 3C, and I didn't care about the old jewel at all. Thumbs up. PogChamp, you could have some extra room in your build too. I used a divine on it, I think. or on, I didn't write down what I used the divine on. I used divine on something. I did 20 orbs of regret because of the tree changes. With those changes, I was able to get rid of Grave Pact. Without Grave Pact, I took... I have the extra area of effect and the aura effect and the reservation, and I have the high level precision. Where is it? I'm leveling up my precision as much as I can, and I'm trying to get the... We have the high level carry-on golems because of the cooldown points. So let's show the accuracy. They're only at 3696. This wasn't enough. So then my next thing was thinking about their accuracy and trying to square out the build. This technically works as long as you don't go to ultra endgame, which you shouldn't be there anyways with this. But this was taking our 3.9 to 5.2 and trying to take the build into the future of over here with the, because the other one says that it does that, but the area, like the size of the auras, like I said, you didn't have the extra 60 AoE on the auras, and you might not even have the quality on the auras yet either with the GCP, where in this, I have the quality on my auras now, so like the Pride, you could check in the other one, the range of it, which I will do because it's a video and that's pretty fun. Let's do that together. I'm curious, the upgrade, that was one of the biggest things, like trying to show how big of an upgrade this was in terms of the aura stuff. There's so many things to think about and so many things to scale, because you go, oh my god, you lost the accuracy, now they're inaccurate, but oh, just don't take them to the ultra end game and you're good, dude. They'll be accurate against most things, and you'll actually notice it'll just be like a hasted mob. It'll be one random monster, not even bosses, because the boss can't get the arch nemesis mod. But anyways, we'll show the area of Pride, and we'll show 54. This was the circle. It's really tiny. And also I can show the quality. So this is without quality, unleveled, 77. And then we scale it up to 80, and we have 75, and you could see the size. And then when Pride says that the enemy has to stay in the radius, and then when it's up to 4 seconds, it increases from 20% more damage to 41%. And that's why I can say, yep, they're in that Pride, because it's massive, bro. I care about it. I'm actually doing this. I willingly mess up our shit to make it actually feel better in game, because I know this is real. So it's really cool, and it'll make the damage actually more consistent, so this feels way better than it did, because the auras are bigger and your minions can reach far, and it's great. And we're still on only carry-on golem. This is just the 6-link carry-on golem. We added the quality, and like the one only problem I would say is the minion accuracy, which you could maybe take the minion accuracy node here, the flat, but it doesn't add that much. You could technically blind the enemy with the... Well, we have the blind from the Animate Guardian. I never enabled that, so it technically lowers the enemy's evasion by like 20%, which would help. That would actually be almost enough. And that would help against a tanky enemy. And then it's instant, because the nearby enemies are blinded from the AG's chestplate. It's not like a chance to blind. But then, yeah, you probably want a little bit more accuracy. I'll finish it there. Oh yeah, the other upgrades I made in this version was we upgraded to Divergent Generosity for the extra AoE in that as well. So even the Dread Banner, 75 in the other one. This is massive for damage. 48. What the fuck is that, dude? The aura is so tiny. So with all that extra AoE, it's massive. Divergent Generosity gives like 100 AoE. 100 AoE to auras. It's insane. I got the Divergent Dread Banner for the extra Impale, which does help, does extra damage when you don't have 100%. And then I also did the Anomalous Helmet, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I moved stuff. I put the Spectre in the ring so it's not aggressive, and I put Maim in the helmet because we were trying to do Blight, and we had gotten this to successfully do T13 Blight AFK, and it was because Maim with the zombies and the Feeding Frenzy and the AG slows him down. Anomalous Maim for the 36% slow is ridiculous, and the Spectres still kind of do the buff. They're not aggressive, and actually they do the cast of their Frenzy less when they're not aggressive because they can't see an enemy, and they only cast their ability when they see an enemy, which is really annoying, so you need them to be aggressive too. You just want everything to be aggressive, dude. It's insane. But either way, yeah, this was T13 AFK Blight viable. This version with the 4.5x 5.2 million with the changes to the aura size and the and then the accuracy didn't matter for T13 Blight. You were good. So thumbs up. And if you technically wanted to, like I said, you could spend that 1 extra point on the flat accuracy, and it would help a little bit. I'll actually show you how much. It's not as much as you would think, though. It's kind of sad. 39.46. Like, what, dude? That's it? Yep. It's just flat. There's no increased, right? So, yep. We already have so much flat because the high level carry-on golems, we need increase. So you would need it from the tree, like this, or you run a jewel, which that's my next step. We're going to run a jewel, and the jewel will have the accuracy. This is 4.5x gameplay. Damn. Alright, this is a pretty big one. So after that, I was ready to get a big DPS increase, and I wanted to be able to 5-link the zombie. So I spent... What I did is I looked up +2 wands, and I found this one for 2.5x, and I found this one for 2.5x. So this one had open prefix, a double suffix. I was like, what? What? I could just multi-minion damage attack speed. This guy doesn't get it. The other ones were also 2.5x. So really, this is like you annulled the prefix and hit the 1 and 3. So this is like 7.5x. And it still had the open suffixes to be able to do the multi. So this is really good, obviously. And you wouldn't be able to do this for this cheap. But 4.5x. And then this one was a 2.5x. And it already had 22 minion damage and 5 attack speed. So I didn't annul. I didn't do anything. I just left it and used it. Said that's fine. And not greedy, and it was 2.5x. It was pretty good, actually. And then we have these two together, 7x, and that was the upgrade. And then what I did was, the main reason I wanted to do this is because, like I said, I had put the Spectre in the ring, and I didn't like that. Putting the Spectre in the ring, it wasn't aggressive, and I wasn't getting the charges, and I was pissed. I was tilted. So I put it back in the helmet with the Feeding Frenzy, the Maim, and the AG. We want the Maim because of the Blight. We want to be able to slow the enemies for the meteor towers to work, and so we have to have that extra socket in the helm. We put the zombies in the chestplate because it's actually more damage to 5-link the zombie in the chestplate than to have a 6-link carry-on goal, and to split the damage across the zombies because you have 9 zombies when they're level 25, plus with the wands. If you get to 34, you get an extra zombie as well, actually, but 34, Jesus. What are we going to do? Awakened in power? So then, I cut the carry-on golems down to 3 instead of 4. And we slotted in a stone golem in the ring instead of the Spectre. You can also notice I did anomalous, and I bought it 16.16. It was pretty cheap. I forgot to quality it. Man, really, dude? Whatever. Forgot to quality it, so we got a little bit less regen. It's fine. And this version... So it's the 2 wands, and people will say, what about the aggressive? You don't have aggressive. How could you do zombies? Well, they sit by you, stand like bodyguards. They're pretty good. They're like meat shields without running meat shield. And then, you know how I showed you like the radius of the auras? So like, oh god, that's precision. Okay, so you see this? They'd be like a 60 or something, right? They're not terrible. They still attack when things get close, and then they do deeps. Like, let me show you this. The zombie, 469 per, and there's 9 of them. So of the 7.6 million, they're doing quite a lot, dude. Here, let me show you again. Let me take off zombie. They're half the damage. So pretty much it's like the Charon Golem is the cleanup single target, they're going crazy aggro, and it's only if stuff gets close that the zombies have to do something, and they're like the cleanup, the catch. It's like you have your front line and then your back line. It's kind of cool, but definitely aggressive zombies is better. We find out later in the thing that we could have actually done a +1 aggressive wand for cheaper than this +2, and it's actually better. So I could show you that by inputting this wand into the POB and just show you. We had 7.6. If we had this one with the aggressive, it's 7.4, which you think, oh, yep, it's less, it's worse. But that was only like, that's it. That's all we lost, and we get aggressive. The aggressive then making the zombies go crazy. We lost 1 dex. That's a problem. But oh, it's the 1 dex requirement on this. What the heck? But either way, the main point is that I could have done a +1 spell aggressive wand with the recombinating, and it was actually cheaper and better because aggressive zombies then reaching the full screen, where I say the edge of the screen, and their damage uptime is higher. It's way better, in my opinion, from testing. But early we did this, and there's no going back. And this was my 11.5x version where we upgraded to wands. We put the zombie in the 5 link. We took out Ruthless for it. We put the Stone Golem in the ring where the Spectre was, and we put the Spectre in the helmet where the zombie was, and everything is happy and right. It's sick. It's really cool. Build scaling up, and you can see the auras were pretty big. And then this is level 80, so it's similar setup. It was just immediate wanting to change it for the zombies and the Spectre in the helmet, because of, I told you, them not working as well without aggressive. Look at the XP. Oh my god! Aw. Well, dude, look at my regen. Oh fuck. Dude, look at my regen. Look at my damage! Rub off on me. I don't know. Dude, look at my XP! I'm AFK blighting to 100 on this character. So then you have to skip on explode for a little while. But then it's way more easier when it's doing this on 11x. Yeah, no problem. And it was really impressive what the build was doing on 4.5x. And what the build was doing on 1x. But then the items technically aren't, like we pointed out, the curse on hit glove, gravebind, and that is already really expensive, so yeah, because the curse is so good. I got the head on a true. The season's been insane, dude. This character dropped an X at Blood Aqueducts at like 65. Dude, I picked a player mod. I'm fucking dead. Also, it's pretty impressive, this build. Brittle? Yeah, fuck. I didn't even mark her, man. Look at that shit. Wait, maybe I just do the Brittle Ground AG so that he could do it for the Blight and I have it guaranteed. No. Double curse. Double curse. This was 15.6x, and this was a pretty big jump, and actually made me kind of regret my last jump, the last upgrade, because it was such a big upgrade, and this was actually potentially better than that. So let's go through it. I had spent 108C on this Impossible Escape Doomsday. This allowed me to anoint or pick anything that's within range of this without pathing to it. So I could take Golem Commander and Ravenous Horde. We gained Ravenous Horde. Why is this important? The minion move speed for the zombies is really nice, and the extra onslaught when your stuff actually gets kills for Blight. There's so many monsters, so many kills. They get onslaught quite a lot, and it's 20% attack speed and move speed. So 50% move speed when they don't have very much, because all their move speed is like the Dread Marches or the Flesh Offering that we're not using because we're AFK Blight. Extra move speed's pretty nice, and it's just a jewel. And then this is like using Intuitive Leap, but You can't intuitive leap this, so that's really insane. And then it actually saved my anoint, and I anointed Grave Pact for that accuracy diff I told you about. In the last POB, I actually had a jewel for the accuracy. I have to fix that. But yeah, we anointed Grave Pact with the double damage. I figured it would be decent damage. Like, we have 10.7, and this is 500k just from the double damage. That's pretty cool, and the accuracy could be useful. Let me show you their 5700, but the zombies, yeah, pretty cool. And that's with the Grave Pact. And then we technically have the blind from the AG the entire time, but this one, impossible thing, we got the different anoint, which the anoint is only 2 black oil and an answer. It's really cheap. And then I upgraded to Awakened Melee Fizz level 5, Awakened Brutality level 5, and Awakened Minion damage. I kept the multi-strike normal. The reason for these is Awakened Melee Fizz is chance to intimidate. The Awakened Brutality is the chance to crush, and the +1 level from the Awakened Minion damage. So the one level's like 10% more damage. The Awakened Brutality takes away 15% of the enemy's physical damage reduction. So that can help if the enemy's really tanky. Armor or Fizz damage reduction. And then intimidated enemy, 10% increased damage taken, similar to Maim. Really cool. These were just big damage buffs, and you'll be surprised by the prices. 1.1x for a leveled up Awakened Brutality, 1.2x for Awakened Minion damage, and 1.3x for Awakened Melee Fizz leveled up. Because I guess XP is so easy this season that the gems are easier to level up, so level 5s aren't that bad. Multi-strike's still expensive, so I didn't worry about it, and it's not that big of an upgrade compared to these. Awakened Brutality feels the best. Awakened Minion damage is really good when it's leveled up, and Awakened Melee Fizz is probably 3rd best of needed, but still a useful upgrade. And it's an upgrade in the way that you don't lose anything. You didn't change anything. It was just spending a little bit more, and you get more power. Pretty sick. Love it. So that's why I say, like, this could have been the upgrades I made in the last one. Instead of the wands, you could have upgraded the Awakened Gems and switched to this Doomsday thing and had a different anoint, and it would have done similar stuff without having to switch to the wands yet. But the wands are so good too. But then that +1 aggressive wand is really, really ideal, honestly, this whole time. Getting prepared to do my one-on-one, and then this goddamn influence. Holy shit, man. Alright, here's the boss. It's tanky as fuck, you see? I marked it. Brittle. Oh, it's getting melted. It's getting fucking melted. Holy sh... It's actually so funny. It's so much life. And the extra life as he has. Pretty cool. Here is some more fun upgrades. We got to level 89. You can see that we are ramping fast in this build. So then, you know, your god 6-link. I love this shit. Okay, real thing though is the body armor. I decided that the increased effect of auras and the pride was a huge upgrade. It takes like 3x to roll both of these. So this is Searing Exarch for the effect of auras, and the pride was the Eater of Worlds, and the pride is way more rare than I thought. It's a weighting of 300 where some of them are 1,000, so it's 3 times more rare than the most common thing. So it's kind of one of the rare ones. More rare than normal, 3 times more rare than the common stuff. So yeah, spent 3x, but then the power from this is pretty obvious. Like, it's extra aura effect, it's extra pride effect, it's pretty big. And then it's extra impale and everything, and then it's extra armor, and it's extra regen because of the vitality, and any extra auras I go, it's really, 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 really strong. I realized when you're doing a non-influence chest, the whole point is getting the new influences stuff. So I spent a few X on that, huge power upgrade. And then I also, this is when I realized, dude, this is the damage without Assassin's Mark, okay? I took it out. This is the AG. Like, that's how much the chest added. Like, we actually gained 1 billion damage where we don't even have... If I added the Assassin's Mark, I think it was like 5 million. Yeah, get it up to 15. So, it was 4 mil. The thing I did at this point was I took the Anime Guardian and I said, okay, I don't care about the double curse for Blight because I'm AFK and I'm not using it. I want to switch the Animate Guardian's boot. Finally, like I said a long time ago with the Wind Scream, I want to switch it to a brittle boot. So I bought the Sork 100C brittle ground boot with all reses, just some normal elemental reses, cold, fire, lightning, and then move speed and brittle as the implicit for 4 seconds. I did the 4-second one. It's the Grand Eldritch Embers, and but I bought the base with the mod already, and he would run around leaving the brittle ground like I showed for me in the Blight in the beginning, instead of having to do it myself. You can see he leaves a trail of icy shit. It's really sick, and I like this better than the extra curse. And you could get the extra curse through a hunter chestplate anyways. You could do a double influence chestplate with a hunter redeemer or hunter crusader for explode, depending on what you want. And it's really sick to be able to have him automate the brittle, because the brittle, I'll show you now. Let's say you don't have this. Your 11 becomes 8.6. So if he can get this on the boss, on the enemies, or the boss walks onto this in the Blight map, massive. He's also providing all of this, so just in general, if you didn't have him, and that's not even counting his vulnerability curse either, which is a level 15 vulnerability if you ever wanted to simulate this. You can't simulate it if you have your extra curse, because you don't have an extra curse. You have to +1 curse your build then. So yeah, an extra million off the level 15 vuln. So if you lost this, you go from 12 down to 6.7, you're literally doubling your damage off the AG, so that's pretty cool. This was the 18x version though. Pretty good. We upgraded the chestplate mods and the AG's boot brittle ground, made it a lot more consistent. We're already up to like T14, T15 Blight, and we're trying to push even farther. Really sick. Let's go. Dude, easy T16 Blights, man. Holy shit. Here's the 24.5x upgrade, so from 18 to 24.5x. So first it starts with more wasting money on Anoints. I changed the Anoint to Champion of the Cause. You didn't have to do this. I changed the wand with a keep prefix so that I could recraft 15 attack speed instead of the 6 or 5 that it had. So that was 140C keep prefix. I did half an X on the Anoint. I did a 12C craft because getting the 15%, I had to do a few rolls of this. It cost like 3 or 4C per try. I bought a 25C Ghastly Jewel, so it was life, minion attack speed if you've killed recently. I did a 45C glove, 30C with an Eldritch Annul, and I also, what is this 80C? I don't know what I wrote 80C for. 15C light to fire. There was a lightning res. I changed it to fire. 24C to hit this 19 minion damage because it's 10 to 20, so it's 11 crafts. So to get the top 2 is 5-6 crafts on average. So yeah, I took that, times that by the cost of the craft. Those were my odds. And then 1x Eldritch Influence for the spell suppression and minion damage. They took half an X to get spell suppression, 1x to get the minion damage, which it didn't actually. I got lucky, but those are the odds I'm putting in, and that's the prices I'm putting, even though I got lucky on them. Then I bought Corrupted Primordial Harmony with Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you with 40 Summoned Golem cooldown recovery rate. So you see 44. I wanted 40 plus, and I got Corrupted Blood. Jesus, 20C. I bought a Stygian Vice Elder base for like 1.3x. I used Life Catalyst on it. That cost me 80C. I used 8 Divines on it for 0.4x. I did a 6C craft on the helmet for this Lightning and Chaos. and I used 2x of fossils on the Stygian Vice with, first I used 2 socket resonators with life, pristine and aberrant, and then I did pristine single fossils, and this took us up to the 24.5x. A lot of upgrades here, a lot of upgrades, pretty cool. That belt upgraded us like 500 life alone instead of the other belt. It's because the other belt only had like 50 life, and then the 2 reses. This is 108 life, 12% life, life recovery rate, and the res. And you can see it has the open suffix still for that flask charges gained. I didn't have it yet. I slammed it with a Leo later. But yeah, we're up to 11.7 million, and I got tons of extra life. The corrupted blood immunity was really important because there's just a rare monster mod from Arch Nemesis called the Corruptor or something, and it's just applying corrupted blood everywhere, and it's really bad. So I found it useful to get corrupted blood immunity for your AFK Blight. And then 11.7 million, and we're up to level 90 now on the POB. Alright, this one's a bit confusing, but basically took that build, and this is when somebody asked me about the +1 aggressive wand, and I was able to craft this with the Recombinator. So I had similar mods of fire damage, accuracy, and then the extra mods were like the minion move speed, the +1, and the aggressive, and we actually hit it first try, and I annulled and had an open prefix and crafted minion damage. So then I put this in the build, and I found through testing right away, this helped survivability, this helped our damage, this helped everything. This was great. This was definitely better than a +2. I recommend a +1 with aggressive. You could do +1 minion skills or +1 spell skills. +1 spell skills I think is better, but +1 minion could be cheaper depending on which ones people don't want to use in the crafts, etc. And then the aggressive, making the zombies actually go up to the edge. There's another change you get right away is you're able to change the primordial might because you don't need golems or aggressive. You can get 3 harmonies now, so then you get extra golem cooldown recovery rate, and because you actually run a stone golem from these primordial harmonies, you'll have 2 golem types, so you'll get extra golem damage. Like I'll get 34 from this, 34 and 34, so by adding an extra harmony I gained an extra 34 golem damage, which isn't useless. That's extra damage on the carry-on golems, and I have 3 of them, and the stone golem, so that's pretty cool. Still didn't remember about the quality on this, but all this was changing the wand, and I actually saved money from going to this one, because at the time it was like 1 or 2x, but the price went up a little bit because people started making them and deleting the items you would use to recombinate and raising the price. Rest in peace. People doubted. F. Here we go. 5 mods. 6 mods. Oh my god! Dude! After that, we were trying to push T16. The aggressive got us to T16. There was now one issue. I was doing T16, and I wanted survivability, and we had the testing. I did like 20 blights. The only thing I was dying to was, well, I was getting really low to toxics and magma barriers and all these spells, but also there was this crystal skin. I might even have the clip actually. Let me try to pull this up while I talk. So basically I was doing my T16 AFK Blight, and through all that time I only died twice, and then both times I clip it and I'm like, what the hell is that? So I got a clip of it, finally saw it really well. I slowed it down and I can show you guys, and I even a viewer knows what it is and then also called it out, and now we know what it is and we've looked it up, we can confirm it, and then we know how to mitigate it. And yep, So on the left was a monster, and we attacked it a bunch, and then it died, and it starts to spawn these purple crystals. So it's called Crystal Skin. It's a Arch Nemesis mod, and you can see they started spawning, and we're at 3 seconds. They're going off within literally milliseconds. I've lost thousands of HP, and I'm dead. It's these purple crystals, crystal skin. It's every time the monster's hit while it's alive, and then it makes that many or something when it dies, and it does like 1 billion damage and can spawn like not just on you but all around you and crazy. And yeah, the point is, I wanted spell suppression to beat all these things. And so I figured out, okay, I'll take the spell suppression on the tree. Here's 16% plus the mage bane with my dex, 190. So it's like 12. So I got 28 through the tree, and I gotta make up the rest. So we got some through the glove. I was also thinking about a quartz flask, AFK, and the blight, but we have the 9%. I got 18% on the glove, could get 19% if I divine it. Got 31 on the chest plate. I used Essence of Envies until I rolled Spell Suppression T2. It was going to cost a lot. This whole thing, I got up to 37.5x from 22.5. This was 15x upgrade, so let me take my time and go through it one by one what I did, because it's quite a bit. So first I said, for the T16 Blight, the order of operations was, I want a 2120 carry-on golem. This was 48C. I got a 2120 zombie. This was 70C. I slammed the belt with a Leo Slam, like I said. So a Leo Slam is talking about June unveils, and the June thing. So there's Leo, and when somebody has him in the right spot, he can do an Exalted Orb Slam, but they charge less than an Exalted Orb. So this was only 50C, and I got an extra mod, and I got 27% increased flash charges gained, which definitely helps your flash recovery for the AFK. That's nice. Especially since I told you they're automated from the use when charges reach full. So then we did new rings, and I used annuls. So I bought these rings for 30C and annulled some random suffix so I could craft endurance charge. Then I used divine orbs on them. I bought 1x of divines to divine up stuff. I think it was like the chest plate chaos res, the helmet chaos res, maybe like the glove, and maybe a ring. I can't remember all the stuff I divined, but it was just divining stuff because I had low rolls, and a divine automatically like gets a better roll, so it's like free. It's just extra power. There's not like bad RNG except getting the same roll. So then there's 1x brittle boot. I had to redo my brittle boot because I bought a spell suppression boot. This was a 1x for the life regen 2. This was 3. Wait, where was it? The chest plate. Then I used 3 perfect fossils, 2x in essence on the essence of envy. Deafening Essence of Envy, trying to roll T2 Spell Suppression or T1. This is an 86 chestplate. It's a Desert Brigandine. I was going for armor evasion because it had decent odds and it had low strength, low dex requirements, so I didn't have to have extra, and I didn't want to have to do all that, and it still had decent armor, which was nice. And then the base was only 35C for a Desert Brigandine 86 6-link. That was really cool. I ended up using on the prefixes, because I hit the spell suppression, the chaos res, and the lightning res. I needed to redo the prefixes. I had like 2 life or something, T11 life, 9 life, I don't know, it was terrible. So I used 2 eldritch chaos orbs in game. That's these things. I don't have it. It rolls the prefixes if you make the Searing Exarch greater. So then I re-rolled it until I hit life. So I used 2 Eldritch Chaos, and I also used 3 slams and 1 annul. So I'll talk about the slams because that part was really cool. You can Exalted Orb only the prefix if you have Searing Exarch Dominant. So I was able to craft on the chest plate. I crafted, I believe, the increased armor and evasion, because it was such a large percentage of it, and I was trying to get life. it had a high weighting, so I was trying to block it. And then I was trying to get the 13,000 weighting for life, and I was trying to get a good roll of the life. I got T4 after all. It wasn't the best, but it was really good. And then I could craft percent life. That's what I was trying to do, craft percent life, because you can't hit percent life unless you do a veil. I could have done suffixes cannot be changed, then go do a veil or a veiled chaos orb, but I wanted to just hit it with the influence currency. So I was pretty happy to hit life, and then I crafted it. The craft was 120C to hit 8% life and a decent mana. Yep, 120C, so almost an X. I did 7 orbs of conflict and 1 exceptional just to raise this aura effect up 1. So basically what I did is I used the Grand Eldritch Embers for hitting Searing Exarch. I was trying to hit increased effect of the non-curse auras 14%, tier 3 or whatever, and then I used an exceptional Grand Eldritch Ichor, the other one, because you want it for the Orb of Conflict. You want the other mod to be as high as possible to increase your weighting of the other mod. So I used the one higher than this one to raise this one, so that I have more than a 50% chance to hit it. And then I ended up having to use 7 Orbs of Conflict. I finally got it. Went up 1 tier. You don't have to do this, but I'm just saying that this is how I got the 16% aura effect. I put it in the price. I did do this. 7 Orbs of Conflict, 1 exceptional. God damn it. And then we also did 1x for the Searing Exarch aura effect. And I did 2x for the Pride aura effect, because I found out, like I said, the Pride is more rare than I thought it was. It was very expensive. I also divined it 1x, because I had to hit 31 spell suppression with decent chaos res. 1x of divines. Then I minused 4x for the old chest, because the old chest had a bunch of good stuff in it, like the influence, both rolls plus the mods. It had chaos, life, decent armor. It was just the 191 strength and the no spell suppression. It was a decent chest. Then I did the 45C new amulet. So life, mana, cold res, dex, open suffix. Dex was the nice thing, and I got strength dex base, so this is covering 56 of my attributes, where the old one was 20 int. Absolute dog shit. I divine orbed, and I put grave pact on it. Then I did 5x gloves for the spell suppression, life, cold res, chaos res, open prefix with pretty disgusting glove, yep. And I could divine for 19 spell suppression if I needed to. Then I did a 10C ring change, changing the res. I changed one of the reses, I don't remember. I think it was the fire, lightning to fire, I think. And then I got back 2.5x for the old glove. And then I did the aggressive +1 wand finally. So this was with the recombinators. We recombinated a +1 spell and an aggressive convoking wand, and we got it together. Then I was able to annul a prefix and hit and craft minion damage. And it's actually a hybrid mana life, hybrid mana minion damage. So you get 83 after all. I could actually get like 86. Then I slammed the ring with a Redeemer's Exalted Orb and got increased evasion, which wasn't useful yet because I didn't have that much, because I didn't run Grace this early on, but I was trying to hit minion damage because the ring was item level 80 plus. It was 76C for a Redeemer's Exalted Orb. I just tried to gamble it, and this was the 37.5x spell suppression version, where we were able to swap it all over. We kept this. We had the spell suppression. We kept all the reses. We have 12 million damage. We have the damage. We have the minion survivability. We gained spell suppression. We were immune on the T16 blights, and this was already the T16 Blight AFK viable build, 37.5x. And then the next upgrade was putting in Grace, and then the build was done. Now let's show you that. So in the 40x, had some extra priorities. I wanted to fit Grace because we got the spell suppression for mapping. When you do the Ember, the Searing Exarch, you get a lot of those auto attacks. The Rogue Exiles are shooting shit. Delve, tons of melee attacks. Simulacrum, melee attack, or just attacks. This is Simulacrum viable. I could show it. It's already doing the crazy mapping. It's really good survivability because of the dodging attacks. The evasion is really nice. Evasion is so good, and then when you have spell suppression already messing up the spells, were really strong all around. So what I did is we got the Grace mana reservation. You can see this is 40. This was 55 mana. We did the Charisma. So I did this through an intuitive leap. We gave up Fortress Covenant for the extra mana reservation. We got Grace mana reservation. We did, well, we have all the reservation that we can. Reservation, yeah. And then I did the Helm enchant is still the Vitality. Any reservation enchant would help. If you don't have this, you could also do the Eater of Worlds mana reservation implicit instead of the fizz damage taken from hits taken as fire, using Eater of Worlds Grand Eldritch Icors. And then the other reservation is I bought an Enlightened 3 for 1.2x, and I linked it to Grace, Pride, Determination to reduce the mana of those ones. So it's a 20C Intuitive Leap, 1.2x for the Enlightened 3, and I changed the Anoint from Grave Pact to Champion of the Cause. So then we have this, like all the reservation, and I was able to fit it into the build. And then we're still rocking the 12 million. We didn't give up damage, we actually just gained Grace, so then the minions are tankier too to attacks and the survivability, and it's really good. And yeah, the 40x from 37.5 to 40 to add Grace was really good. And then this was able, well, obviously you're even tankier for the AFK Blight, but then also in maps you're just a god. I already showed the build. This is with Grace added to the spell suppression. What a journey that was. That was a lot. That was pretty insane. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey in the process. Up to 95 budget style. We only spent 40x. Build came out pretty well. Pretty happy with it. Like I said in the final thing, you'd want to have the swap for the Quicksilver and the Life Flask for mapping with the immune to freeze and duration on the Quicksilver, and the quick Divine Life Flask with immune to bleed in the instant. This was an insane video. A lot of stuff. Long video. If you guys made it to this part of the video, you like this kind of stuff, you like this budget stuff, and if this helped you play Carrion Golems, if you can now play Carrion Golems, if this is accessible to you, then like the video. Let's get 69 likes in one day on this video, and I'll reply to all the comments in the comment section below. Ask me any questions if you have any questions. There's a lot of information here. Thank you guys for watching. I'll have all the POBs linked in the description below. We're gonna have every single one with all the upgrades in between, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the series. This was really fun, and now I hope you enjoyed the Carrion Golems. Hope you have good luck this season, and may you drop many mirrors. You also may be wondering, what is next for this build? Well, actually, I leveled up this build to be a Headhunter build because they buffed a Headhunter to 60 seconds, and if you didn't know, it says you kill a monster, but it actually includes your minions. It should be when you or your minions kill a rare monster, and then we get the modifier for 60 seconds, and the new Arch Nemesis mods are really strong and really crazy and really powerful, and I'm excited to try a Headhunter minion build again and bring it back. And the fact that we've gotten the build to be this strong without a Mage Blood is pretty good, and it's a pretty easy swap over to the belt, since I already have the lightning. It's just a little bit of chaos res, and I think we can get it done. Either way. I hope you're looking forward to the Headhunter. I also plan to play my main build, my God build, the deep delving some more. We're at like 830 delve, 840. I want to keep going. I want to see how far I could take it. I want to min-max it some more. Maybe we can make more versions of Carrion Golems. I was thinking of maybe scaling up this budget further than just the 40x. But I think 40x, this breakpoint is insane, where you can already farm up massive big dick items off your AFK Blight, off of Expedition, off of the mapping. It's already so strong, and then the next big upgrades for the build are big, where it's probably just better to farm out even bigger items that are like best in slot or endgame stuff, like your Awakened Multi, Mage Blood, Ashes, stuff like that. Big ticket items is probably where you would go from here. Either way, because you could definitely farm up a lot of currency with this build. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helped you. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!